Hi, you guys. It's Lisa. Thanks for joining me at my channel. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I've been working on these um, old books that I've gotten at a library sale for $1. Most of them are like uh, gardening and songbirds, and some are trees, some are just things I know people will really love, and I've been painting on them. I got the idea from Creativation, and the Plaid booth was doing it as a workshop. I didn't get to go ahead and do the workshop, but I did go on the Plaid Facebook group, and they had all of the information I needed to create these wonderful, wonderful books. And I love how they turned out. So I wanted to take it a step further and do a tree on a book about trees for my girlfriend. She loves trees. So here was my idea, and I will let you know how it went. First, you take the book, and I sanded it a bit with a sand block, and then I covered it with this sheepskin chalk paint, and then you let it dry and you sand it a bit again so that it's real nice and smooth. And here's a sentiment I had in my stash, and it says, families. What did it say? One second, I'll grab it. It said, families are branches on a tree, we grow in different directions, yet our roots remain the same. So I cut that out of this tissue paper, and I had this great big tree stencil, and I will find it for you where I got it, and everything will be linked in the description box below. So here I'm using my wonderful script background stamp that I use over and over and over again. I absolutely love it. And I'm just doing a second generation stamping, and I'm using my potting soil archival ink. I didn't want it to be too dark, so that's why I stamped it on some paper and then stamped it on my um, book. Now, very important, make sure that your book is not upside down. I did do one and the whole thing was upside down, but I have some friends that won't mind because these are decorative pieces, so they can still set it out and they'll open it and they'll just get a laugh because I did it upside down. Here I'm using that stencil and that potting soil archival ink, and also I used a little bit black and my stencil brushes, and I went right through there. Then I had this idea to use this um, stencil that had wood grain on it and maybe create a knot hole in the trunk of the tree, and you will see how cool it turned out. I always like to leave the unveiling of the stencil for you because that's always the best part. And I did use my easy tack on the back of my stencil. So look how cool, huh? Now it's very wet, so I wanted to make sure I gave it a dry, and I'm using some Deco Arts paint, and the color is bittersweet chocolate, and I'm watering it down with some water, and I'm going over all of the branches. And I decided that I did use a little bit too much water, so I did add a little bit more paint to thicken that up because it wasn't covering so great. But I went through the whole tree, used my thin brush, and covered up all of those little marks that were left from the stencil so that it would look like the tree was all complete. It's a great stencil, and I use it a lot. So here it is all finished, and then I wanted to put that piece of tissue paper with the sentiment on the back because it was a bit larger. I'm just putting it down with my matte medium and putting a nice layer there, and going ahead and putting a layer over the top. Well, as you'll see, I did rip the tissue paper and I took off the A from R, and I did take off the N right about here. I screwed it up. But I'll go ahead and use my micron pen and fix it so that it won't look bad. This is a quick and easy project, and I wanted to put it out there just so that you could recycle, reuse some of the good books that you have around at your house. You know, I love books and I love to recycle and reuse, so I thought this was a great thing to share with you. I made about 20 of the hydrangea books for a craft sale, but of course the craft sales have all been canceled, so I have lots and lots of them. I'm selling them on my website, which I will link in the description below if you're interested, and also I have them on my Facebook page. I know they'll sell, they're beautiful, so I'm only asking $20 a piece for them, and they're all hand painted, so original. I just really got into making them, and I think I'll make them for the different seasons during the year as soon as the craft sales get back underway and this terrible, terrible virus is gone. I'm hoping that you're staying safe and your friends and family are also. And just to let you know that I'm thinking of everyone as we try to stay apart. It's difficult because we're really, a social animal, I guess, and it's hard to stay away from everyone. Here I just put down two colors of acrylic paint, and they're also by Deco Art. One is Hoosier Dark Green, and the other one, my favorite, Light Avocado. And I am just using a sea sponge that I had in my stash to give it texture, and I was just going to do the grass on the bottom, and then I really liked how the color was turning out, so I thought, well, there's the leaves. I won't have to individually paint the leaves on as I was going to. Adding just a little bit more of that light green to the mix, and I believe it turned out just great. The texture from the sponge is awesome. I'll leave some pictures at the end here so you can check it out. And I am using my Tim Holtz Distress Crayon in Vintage Photo and adding a brown border around the front and back cover of the book. I'm dragging the color in a little bit to the inside of the piece, and I like how that looks. It looks kind of like the paper is ripped a little bit, gives it a little bit of definition. And I will go over the piece when it is dry with my Spectrafix and fix the Distress Crayon so it doesn't smear, and then I will probably varnish the outside also with the polyacrylic. I hope everyone's taking care of themselves. Try to be safe, and we'll see you again soon for another project.